Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Going the Distance. This is episode 74. Can you believe we've done 74 episodes? I can't. But I want to welcome the new members who are just joining me for the first time, and I want to welcome back the members who have been joining me from the beginning. Your support is greatly appreciated. So before we get started, we got a lot to get into, but before we start, I want you to hit the thumbs up button and like this video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And share the video. Share it out. Let's grow this community, y'all. So, first, we're going to start out with some sporting news. And a few weeks ago, I told you the New York Rangers fired their head coach. Well, they found a new head coach in a guy named Mike Sullivan. He led the Pittsburgh Penguins to back-to-back Stanley Cups in 2016, 2017. So, maybe New York will be a contender next year. Who knows? Never been a big New York football, football, yeah. But never been a big New York sporting team fan. But, he might do good for him. Just like Pittsburgh. Never been a big Pittsburgh person either. But, Anyway, moving on to some NBA news. Greg Popovich, who was the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, is stepping down as the Spurs head coach after 29 years. But he's not just going to leave the team. He's going to take a full-time president's role in the front office of the Spurs, which is fine. I mean, that's like what Bill Belichick did with the Patriots. He had the GM role and the head coaching role. So if he didn't want to be head coach anymore, on his decision, he could probably just get into the GM role. So when Belichick left, they lost both the head coach and the GM. With Popovich, they just lost the head coach. But, there had to be something going on because Mitch Johnson, who was the assistant head coach, is now stepping up to be the next head coach of the Spurs. So even though Popovich is gone, now Popovich had some health issues last year. I believe he had a stroke, and he's recovering from that. But I guess the travel and the games and just the stress of it all is going to get to him, and he wants to take care of his health more than, And after 29 years, I think it's time to go. So Mitch is the new head coach of the Spurs, and we'll see how the Spurs do next year. They made a big trade earlier in the season, so we'll see how they do next season. Anyway, moving on to some football news, and we got some good football news to get into. Julian Edelman is going to be inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame this coming season, which I think is great. He can join Tom. He can join Vrabel. He can join Randy Moss if Randy's in there. I mean, he's one of the players that deserve to be in there. So, congratulations to you, Julian. Love watching you play. Miss watching you play, buddy. Moving on. The Ravens are releasing Justin Tucker, or have released Justin Tucker, after all the allegations that he had against him from multiple women, and I'm not going to go into all the gory details. You can look those up yourself. But he had some allegations, and they were stacking up. It was a lot like, reminded me a lot of Deshaun Watson. Although the Browns paid Deshaun too much money and couldn't release him because then they would look like the fool, which they are because they signed him to this big deal, and look how much Deshaun hasn't played. But Justin Tucker, honestly, with everything going on, Tucker just needs to retire. He's been in the league long enough, and these allegations are horrendous. So just go ahead and retire. Hopefully no other team's going to want to sign you after all this. So hate to say it because I liked you as a kicker, Justin, but what you did is just wrong. But if you guys want to look that up, I'm not going to get into it. But if y'all want to look it up, feel free. Moving on. Adam Thielen may retire at the end of this coming season. This might be his last season. He hadn't said for sure, but he said he's mulling over retirement. So we'll see how Carolina does this year. They in a related note, the Panthers today released Jadeveon Clowney, so they're looking. So Jadeveon will be looking for a new team, and Jadeveon's one of those players that is just great. He was like a modern day Randy Moss, I thought. I don't know if he still is because I didn't really see him with a lot of play time last season. But maybe he can go to a Washington Redskins or maybe go to the Cowboys, because the Cowboys did just trade for George Pickett. So now it'll be George Pickett and CeeDee Lamb, and then you put Jadeveon Clowney on there and have Dak back. That might be something. But anyway, if Adam Thielen does retire at the end of the season, you had a great career, and I will do a little thing about you after the season. If you do retire, Adam, I'll report it. Moving on, speaking as I did of the Washington Redskins, they will host the 2027 NFL Draft, which is good because they haven't hosted the draft, and they want to go to new towns and new cities. So Washington's the best place to do that, I think. Moving on, Mike Tomlin is now the longest tenured head coach across all 4 North American sports teams. That's hockey, baseball, basketball, and football. He's the longest tenured coach out of all 4 of those leagues at 19, entering his 19th season. He took over for Pittsburgh when Bill Cowher retired in 2007. So he's been there for 19 years. I can't believe it. So just out of curiosity, who do y'all think the person in first was before Tomlin? Because Tomlin was second. That's right. It was Greg Popovich of the San Antonio Spurs. And since Popovich retired, that takes over Tomlin. Now, with that being said, if you've been listening to the show, during football season, at the beginning of football season, and, the Fridays of head coaching firings, Mondays of head coaching firings, who do you think the second tenured coach in the NFL? Now, this is the NFL now. Who do you think the second tenured coach in the NFL is? That's right, Harbaugh in Baltimore. That's right. Harbaugh's been there for entering, I believe, his 18th year, and Tomlin's entering his 19th year. That's hard to believe, and I've watched them both. Coach the whole time, because I've been watching football for 24, 25 years now. So maybe longer, because I can remember the 99 Super Bowl with Steve McNair, and it was the Tennessee Titans versus the St. Louis Rams. Sorry, I lost track of what town the Rams were in. It was the St. Louis Rams. And that was when Kurt Warner was the quarterback of the Rams, and Steve McNair was the quarterback of the Titans. And the Rams ended up winning that Super Bowl, but the Titans missed it by that much. And then the Titans were never the same after that. Steve McNair moved on to Baltimore, and then he passed away. And you can look that up to learn more about that. And Kurt Warner went off to have a good career with the Rams, and then he went to the Cardinals. Went to the Super Bowl a couple more times, lost every time, but that's, in my opinion, when Kurt went with Arizona, they should have won that Super Bowl, but that's a story for another time. Anyway, moving on, we're going to move into the NBA playoff scenarios. On Tuesday, we had the Pacers defeat the Bucks 119-118, so the Pacers won that series 4-1. The Pistons defeated the Knicks 106-103. The Knicks led that series 3-2, which moved them to a Game 6. The Celtics defeated the Magic 120-89. The Celtics won that series 4-1. And the Nuggets defeated the Clippers 131-115. So the Nuggets lead that series 3-2. And then on Wednesday, the Rockets defeated the Warriors 131-116. So the Warriors lead that series 3-2. The Wolves defeated the Lakers 103-96. So the Wolves win that series 4-1. So, see, the Lakers couldn't come back. So LeBron is not the GOAT. Everybody wants to say, oh, LeBron's the GOAT. No, he's not. On Thursday, we had the Knicks defeat the Pistons 116-113 for the Knicks to win that series 4-2. The Clippers defeated the Nuggets 111-105. So that series was tied at 3, which pushed that to a Game 7. On Friday, the Rockets defeated the Warriors 115-107. The series is tied at 3, another Game 7. And then on Saturday, we had the Nuggets defeat the Clippers 120-101 in that Game 7 to win that series 4-3. And the Nuggets will face the Thunder in the second round. On Sunday, we had the Pacers defeat the Cavaliers in the first round, in the first game of the second round, 121-112. So the Pacers lead that series 1-0. The Warriors defeated the Rockets 103-89. So the Warriors win that series 4-3. And then on Monday, we had the Knicks defeat the Celtics, which I know was, hard for me to say. The Knicks defeated the Celtics 108-105. So the Knicks lead that series 1-0. The Nuggets defeat the Thunder 121-119. So the Nuggets lead the series 1-0. On Tuesday, the Pacers defeated the Cavaliers 120-119. So the Pacers lead that series 2-0. If you ask me, I think the Pacers might move on to the next round. Also on Tuesday, the Warriors defeated the Timberwolves 99-88. The Warriors lead that series 1-0. But in that game, they lost Steph Curry to a hamstring injury. I believe it's a grade 1, and they say he'll be out for a month. So that could determine the everything. That could determine how the Warriors play in that series now. I mean, the Wolves could win that series now. And then on Wednesday, we had the Knicks defeat the Celtics 91-90. So the Knicks lead that series 2-0. Come on, Celtics. And the Thunder defeated the Nuggets 149. Yes, I said that. 149-106 to tie that series at 1 game apiece going into Game 3. I can't believe the Thunder scored 149 points on the Nuggets, although I can't believe the Nuggets let them win and score that many points against them. But, it is what it is. And we'll just see. Anyway, moving on to the NHL playoffs. On Tuesday, we had the Senators defeat the Leafs 4-0. So the Maple Leafs lead that series 3-2. The Hurricanes defeated the Devils 5-4 in 2 overtimes. So the Hurricanes win that series 4-1, move on to play the Capitals. The Golden Knights defeat the Wild 3 games. Not 3 games. The score was 3-2. Knights defeat Wild. The Knights lead that series 3-2. That's where I got confused because both of them are 3-2. The Oilers defeat the Kings 3-1. The Oilers lead that series 3-2. On Wednesday, the Capitals defeated the Canadiens 4-1 to win their series 4-1. Again, Capitals play Hurricanes in the second round. The Panthers defeat the Lightning 6-3. Florida wins that series 4-1. And after that, the Panthers win that series. But after that game, the Tampa Bay Lightning came out and said they're sticking with their head coach for next season, which I think is good. No more changes. Jets defeat Blues 5-3. Jets lead that series 3-2. On Thursday, we had the Maple Leafs defeat the Senators 4-2, so the Maple Leafs win that series 4-2. The Golden Knights defeat the Wild 3-2, so the Knights win that series 4-2. The Avalanche defeat the Stars 7-4 to tie that series at 3. And then on Friday, we had the Blues defeat the Jets 5-2. The series is tied at 3. Saturday, we had the Stars defeat the Avalanche 4-2, so the Stars win that series 4-3. That was a Game 7, so that was an exciting game. And then on Monday, we had the Leafs defeat the Panthers 5-4. We had, on Tuesday, we had the Canes defeat the Capitals 2-1 in overtime. So the Canes lead that series 1-0. The Oilers defeat the Knights 4-2. So the Oilers lead that series 1-0. And all these are round 2 scores. On Wednesday, we had the Leafs defeat the Panthers 4-3. So the Leafs lead that series 2-0. And the Stars defeated the Jets 3-2. So the Stars lead that series 1-0. Come on, Stars. It would be great if it was a Stars Hurricanes Stanley Cup. That would be a good Stanley Cup for me. And I would, even though I like both teams, I'd have to go with the home team in the Hurricanes. But we'll get to that bridge when we cross it. Moving on, we're going to move on to Week 6 scores of the United Football League. On Friday, we had the Battlehawks, who improved to 4-2, defeat the Renegades, who dropped to 3-3, with a score of 12-6. On Saturday, we had the Roughnecks improve to 3-3, defeating the Showboats, who dropped to 1-5, with a 21-20 score. On Sunday, we had the Panthers improve to 4-2, defeating the Defenders, and I know that's funny to say, who dropped to 4-2 with a 38-14 victory. The Stallions improved to 4-2, defeating the Brahmas. And if you give me just a second here, we will. I forgot to write that. So that score was 26-3. So I believe the Stallions can do it this year. They've got the team and they stay in the process. So that was a good thing. And I've always said since they started the UFL, I think the Stallions, are the team to beat every year. So we're going to move into Week 7, which I can't believe it's Week 7 of the UFL. But we're going to move into Week 7 predictions. On Friday night, on Fox at 8 o'clock, we have the 4-2 Defenders going up against the 1-5 Brahmas. I've got the Defenders. On Saturday at 1 o'clock on Fox, we have the 4-2 Panthers at the 3-3 Renegades. I'm actually picking the Panthers in that game. On Sunday at noon on ABC and ESPN Plus, we have the 3-3 Roughnecks against the 4-2 Stallions. I'm picking the Stallions, obviously. And then at 3 o'clock on ESPN, we have the 4-2 Battlehawks against the 1-5 Showboats. I'm picking the Battlehawks. So, moving on, I told you I was going to cover more golf. Scotty Scheffler wins the weekend. They played in McKinney, Texas at like 31 under. Couldn't believe it. 31 under. That has to be an easy course because everybody had high scores. It was like 31 under, 27 under, 24 under, 40, all that. So congratulations to you, Scotty Scheffler. You're the number one golfer in the land for a reason. And we will next week I will give you the updates for who won the golf championship this coming weekend. We also ran the Kentucky Derby this weekend, and Sovereignty wins the Kentucky Derby. And I know it's horse racing, yes. And I know that it's weird for me to cover horse racing, but I enjoy horse racing like I do golf and hockey and all that. So something big like the Kentucky Derby or a horse wins the Triple Crown, I will bring you guys the news on that. Now, that being said, watching the Kentucky Derby, they made a comment about the last Triple Crown winner. And that Triple Crown winner was back 10 years ago. And it's weird because I remember seeing that horse win the Triple Crown 10 years ago. So, wow. It's just amazing to think. But that's all for sporting news and scores. So now we're going to move into some music news. And I've got some sad news to report that Three Doors Down lead vocalist Brad Arnold announced he has cancer, and the cancer has metastasized. It was, I believe it was kidney cancer, and it's now metastasized to his liver. So he might not have much longer, y'all. He's like 43 years old, 44 years old. He's not that old to be going, but he released a video announcing the diagnosis. If you're a music fan, Three Doors Down fan, I'm sure you've seen it. And he explained that they had to cancel their summer tour because of this cancer, and he wants to beat this cancer. And he said at the end of the video, I thought it was great, and I love Three Doors Down. But at the end of the video, he said, I'm going to go listen to It's Not My Time, because it's not my time. And I agree with that. It is not your time, Brad. You need to stay with us. You've got more music that you need to sing, and you've got fans out here who love you and are counting on you, and who are not just counting on you, but appreciate you and want you to get better. So all you Three Doors Down fans, including me, let's all lift Brad Arnold up and pray for him that he beats this cancer and he can get back out on the road. Because I'm sure, if y'all remember last year, Three Doors Down went on tour with Creed for their Summer of '99 tour. And that was the last tour. And that I don't want that to be the very last tour Brad Arnold has. So, but moving on to some more exciting news, I want to give you some final thoughts on my Linkin Park concert. I did a video yesterday of my Linkin Park concert from Tuesday night, but I just, again, want to say that it was a dream come true, that, I love that band. I've loved that band for 25 years. I will continue to love that band, and will support them in every way possible. Seeing them live was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and yes, I would go see them again. It was once in a lifetime, and it was definitely a bucket list item I crossed off. I was excited all year to go see them, and they did not disappoint. They were just as hard rock and just as energetic as ever. So, like I've said in the past when I've talked about Linkin Park, I credit Mike to my fast singing, my rap singing skill, and just singing along with him was just outstanding. So, if you ever have a chance to go see Linkin Park live, go see them. you will not be disappointed. And you get good pictures. And we actually had great seats too. So they were like right there. We were here and they were right here. So we could see them. And not straining, just looking over and seeing them. It was amazing. And I was so excited, and I'm still excited, and I will live on this for a good little while. But moving on, we're going to move into the Who We're Listening To segment. And who are we listening to? We're listening to Justin Timberlake. He's got his style is pop. He's from Memphis, Tennessee. He actually started his singing in 92 with the Mickey Mouse Club, and that was where Britney Spears and all those came around. And I think that's how NSYNC came together, which is how Justin got his start, was singing with NSYNC. And I found out about him in 95 with their first singles and Bye 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 and all that. But his first solo album was Justified. And that was right after his breakup with Britney Spears. And so that was like a diss Britney Spears type of thing. He's had 6 studio albums, 52 singles. He's had 1 compilation album. His most recent album is Everything I Thought I Was. So my favorite album from his is the 2020 Experience. And I like Everything I Thought I Was too, because I've listened to that on Spotify. And it's a really good album. And that album was actually his where he released it after it was his COVID album. And all these artists are releasing these albums after COVID because all they could do was sit and write songs. So that's what he did. He sat and he wrote all these songs, and then after COVID hit and he could get out and all the restrictions were lifted, and the masks were done. He's like, I need to release an album. So that's where Everything I Thought I Was came into play. But like I said, my favorite album from him is the 2020 Experience. So in the What Song We're Listening To segment this week, I want you guys to listen to Everything I Thought I Was and the 2020 Experience. Now that's going to be a lot of listening because the 2020 Experience is a two-discer, but worth every minute listening to it, in my opinion. And the Everything I Thought I Was album is a 1-disc. It's like 12 songs, but it's again worth it. And I want to cover something else too. So I know I cover a lot of older artists, and I know people are like, why don't you cover more new artists? There's a lot of newer artists out here that you don't cover. Why do you not do that? That's because, in my opinion, music has changed so much that the older stuff is the best stuff and almost the more relevant stuff. Today's music isn't as good. In fact, I would say since about 2008, it's dropped off, and that was when the Taylor Swifts and the Justin Biebers came on the scene. So, yes, I do all these older artists, and if there's a new artist I like, I'll bring them in. But as of now, we're just going to cover older artists and, check them out. If you guys have some new artists that you guys want me to listen to, drop them in the comments. And I'll listen to them. I'll give them a shot, and they might show up on the What We're Listening To segment for the week. You never know. But that's about all I've got for this week for you guys. As always, thank you guys for joining me. Put your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And thank you guys for going the distance with me. And I will be back next week. And to all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day this weekend. See you guys next week, and God bless.